Love it, I love it, I love it. Eating this up. Vibes are good. Vibes are vibing. I'm sorry, huh? Hello and welcome, you beautiful bookish people. This is going to be another reading vlog, and I'm so excited about it because this is actually my first ARC that I'm reading, like, ever. For those of you who don't know, ARC stands for Advanced Reader Copy. So basically, I get a copy of a book that's going to be released later in the year, so I can give my thoughts and share it with you guys. And the ARC that we are reading today is called A Dance of Lies by Brittany Arena. I already know this is going to be so good for two reasons. One of my book besties through Instagram has told me that she rated this 5 stars. And two, I'm going to read you the dedication. It says, "And to those who feel invisible in their pain." I'm going to need to sit with that one for a second. I'm going to read to you the synopsis that Brittany posted on her Instagram, which she can be found at Reverie and Ink. It reads, "Vasily Morin was once a dancer in King Ilion's court until he framed her for murder. Barely surviving her 2 years in the dungeons, she's suddenly called to face her king. He offers her a deal, become his spy at the 6-week royal gathering, and he'll grant her freedom. As Ilion's orders grow bloody and dangerous, forcing her to harm and betray those around her, Vasily discovers that the monster she serves may be aligned with a bigger monster, one far closer to home. With her world threatened, Vasily enlists the help of Ilion's brother and greatest adversary, the infamous King of the East. As the rivalry between brothers escalates with Vasily caught in the middle, the horrifying truth of her past comes to light. If she wants to survive, she must decide who to trust, who to fight for, and how much of her soul she's willing to damn in the process." I read this and immediately I thought of Throne of Glass. Like, this is giving Throne of Glass vibes. And if you know nothing about me, all you need to know is I love Throne of Glass. It is my Roman Empire series. Those characters are always with me, and I don't think there's a day that goes by that I don't quote or think of, apply things that I've learned from the book to my life. It's literally like a once-in-a-lifetime series, and I know that sounds really dramatic, so if you haven't read Throne of Glass, go read it. But, like, it sounds so good, and it sounds like it's gonna have betrayal and mystery and alliances and romance. I'm just rambling at this point. You know what? Let's just start reading. No, because I was actually so right. This feels like Throne of Glass. This literally feels like the beginning of Throne of Glass, where Chaol goes and picks up Selena and plops her in front of Dorian and is like, "Hey, you can be free, I guess, if you do this for me." No, I'm loving this. Her writing so far, I'm literally 5% of the way through. Her writing is poetic in a way that's easy to understand, because I feel like sometimes writers will try to add a ton of descriptors and in a way that sounds pretty, but it's like, wait, that doesn't make sense. No, this like actually makes sense, and I love the name Vasily. I think that's so unique. I mean, what did I expect though? It's a fantasy book, it's gotta be unique. "Rise from your ashes, my dear, don't crumble alongside them." I'm 9% of the way through. What do you mean? What do you mean this is in the first 10% of the book? Brittany? Brittany? Oh, hi! Today is day 2 of reading. I'm gonna be totally honest, I did not get much reading done yesterday. I'm only 15% of the way through. Honestly, okay, I have some thoughts, and I've been writing them down because obviously this is an ARC and I need to leave a review, because that's the point of getting advanced reader copies. I love Brittany's writing. She's got some hard-hitting lines here, and they're like actually good, and I can actually make sense of them. And I was totally right. The beginning feels like Throne of Glass. Also, chronic illness rep. The author has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and POTS and a couple other things, but Vasily, obviously this is in like a fantasy world, so you can't, I guess, exactly call it that, but the symptoms, from what I'm telling, is POTS and EDS. So that's pretty freaking cool. So if you struggle with those things, you're gonna see some representation in this book. And it is definitely a book that you have to like focus because there's a lot of world building going on right now, which obviously this is the first book in the series and this is not nonfiction. So there's a lot of information being thrown at us. And I don't mind it. I love fantasy because I love learning about these new worlds and how they all work. But right now, it's definitely like, okay, I'm trying to catalog things in my brain. But it's not like super hard to understand, it's just a lot of information. And I'm excited to learn more about the main character because she's alluded to stuff in her past, but she hasn't like revealed anything yet. And so that aspect of mystery, I guess you could call it, is really cool because it makes me want to keep reading because I'm like, what you got going on there, girl? And I'm ready for her to form lasting relationships with some other characters because right now she's kind of just on her own. She's very lonely and she's connected with one person, but not on like a super personal level. 15% of the way through, I feel like the fact that I got all of that is really freaking good. I did some stuff on my socials this morning. I posted a giveaway for the Onyx Storm Target exclusive. So if you're watching this before February 3rd, go on my Instagram or my TikTok to enter. I'm gonna try to read for most of the rest of the day. We're gonna cuddle and we're gonna read. So I'm super excited because it's gonna be chill. It's a good day to curl up with a book. I remind myself that I am not a damsel. I'm no princess bound within a tower. Yeah, girl. Yeah. This is delicious. Delicious. I don't know why when I read a flute balanced between her fingers that I legitimately thought like a No, that would be champagne, Brooke. It's fine. I'm fine. I thought I knew who the love interest was, but now there's a nickname. I love nicknames. They're so delicious. That's all that I can say right now. This book is delicious. Like a cozy delicious. It's not like intense fantasy. It's just good. Oh, I'm enjoying this. Ooh, I'm enjoying this. I'm done with part 1 and I have thoughts and they're good thoughts. I haven't read mystery novels, but like to me, it's giving like mystery fantasy vibes. I know I think it's classified as romantasy from what I've seen. There's no magic, at least yet. I don't know. Maybe that's something we'll find out later, but it pretty much feels just like castles and courts and not necessarily medieval vibes, but I guess you could say that. It's just like a cozy fantasy world. This is so refreshing, but I can't figure out who the love interest is gonna be. Like, it's between two characters right now, and I can't figure out who it's actually gonna be. The only other thing that I can think of is Light Lark by Alex Astor, which I enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite, but I enjoyed it. And there was basically a love triangle there. And we still, at the end of the 3rd book, don't know who it's going to be. But this one, I legitimately, like, I can't figure it out. Because, like, there's bricks being laid for both of them. So that's interesting because I'm, like, it's almost like 40% of the way through, I think? Yeah, 37% of the way through is where part 2 picks up. And I can't put this down. The main character is getting more tasks to complete and being told to find out more information from the person that offered her the deal. It's like I can't figure out why she needs to find this information. She can't figure out why she needs to find this information or what people's motives are, and I think that's so interesting. And it's definitely the aspect that's keeping me glued to the page and like wanting to keep reading. And the chapters, from what I could I mean, I'm reading on an e-reader, so the chapters are pretty short, which, oh my god, I love that. I love it, I love it, I love it. I can't stand chapters that go on for days and have like those random breaks in the middle of the chapter to make it seem like it's short. No, these are actually short chapters, but they're meaningful, so it's not like information is here and gone. Like, things are being developed right now. So we're gonna see how far I can get tonight. Hopefully I can get most of the way through. We'll see. We'll see. Prophecy. I like it. I like it. This is interesting because she's very much in denial that any sort of higher power exists, but I'm here for it. It's just another layer of the world to uncover. I love it. I have showered, I am clean, I dried my hair. I'm on fire. And I'm officially 40% of the way through. I don't think I'm gonna finish it tonight because it's 8:45 and I have about 5 hours and 53 minutes left in the book, it says. So I will get as far as I possibly freaking can tonight, and then we're gonna finish it tomorrow. And also, that actually might be better because then I'll have time to sleep on it, think about my thoughts, and then reconvene. But I am eating this up. Oh, hi! I really thought I was gonna finish the book yesterday, and I probably could have, but ADHD strikes and I get distracted. That is not at all a representation of the book because I'm loving this. I have gone on a streak of reading a bunch of like intense fantasy, and I like books that will probably rip your heart out because I would rather be stressed about being attacked by a dragon than thinking about my own problems. But this book has kind of just been like it's a breath of fresh air. I'm just here for the vibes. Vibes are good. Vibes are vibing. And I'm 62% of the way through the book. So I plan to finish it today. My Kindle reading speed thing says I have 3.5 hours left in the book. And it's currently 3:08. So I'm just gonna put on my AirPods and lay back because, I don't know, I felt kind of weird this morning. I have like the beginning of a migraine or something. I don't know. But I just feel like it's a rot day. So I'm gonna rot with this book. Arrogant men in books? Yes. Arrogant men in real life? No. I'm not one for fake dating. I think the premise is a little awkward, but when you have to do something to act as like a ruse or distraction or whatever, and the only option is to make out, that's too good. I'm not saying this is like fake dating or anything, but like, I'm not gonna spoil it. This is a spoiler-free vlog, but oh, that was good. Part 3, here we go. He's talking her through a panic attack. I need to sit with this for a minute. Oh yeah. I know this is a spoiler-free video, and it's gonna remain so, but I'm gonna give you an out-of-context quote, and I'm not gonna tell you what happens, I'm not gonna tell you who it is. One character says, "I am broken." Next character says, "You are art." I'm sorry, huh? What do you mean? Okay, that's fine. I'm good. I think the only thing that I've learned during this vlog is that I'm really good at getting distracted and doing other things when I really should be reading. So I grabbed my Christmas Mickey blanket and I'm gonna snuggle. And my husband is making dinner. I'm finishing this freaking book tonight. It's happening. It's happening. I'm not gonna stretch this on for 4 days because I think this book is probably like not even 500 pages. I actually don't know that for sure. But based on the ARC physical copies that I've seen, it's probably about that, so. I think I'm gonna puke. Ooh, that's interesting. Hold on. That was so good. Wait, that was so good. Oh my god. I was a little confused getting towards like the end of the book. I was like, this is marketed as a fantasy. Like when is that gonna come? Oh, there it is. There it is. Had you waiting to the very last second. Oh, this is good. The next book is gonna be good. I think it's always tricky with like a debut fantasy. Like, how much to reveal in the first book and how much to make happen, because you want it to capture your audience and you don't want somebody to lose interest after like the first, like you want them to read the second book. And I think this book successfully made me want to keep reading. I'm definitely gonna read the next book because, ooh, this is interesting. Oh my gosh. We interrupt this regularly scheduled program to announce that the Callie Hart commented on my TikTok. She knows I exist. What is life? Anyways, I gotta get to my book review. A Dance of Lies. I really freaking enjoyed this book. I was not expecting to love the more like chill aspect, because I'm normally somebody who, I read a lot of like heartbreaking, higher fantasy, super intense stuff because I want to feel something. But this was a great palate cleanser, and I made a video on TikTok saying that like I don't understand palate cleansers because I'm somebody that wants to get their heart ripped out. I got so many comments, people saying, well, read this, and I said, well, I don't read straight up romance. I don't read dark romance. I don't read literally anything but fantasy. And, which that's fine. I latched onto the genre and I'm fine with just reading fantasy, but it's hard to find a fantasy book that's chill and like it still has those aspects of a new world and without being so intense. And I feel like this was a book that if you want a good break, this is it. Although there were some, I don't want to say intense points, but maybe intense is the right word. There were more intense points in this that, you know, had me on the edge of my seat, had my jaw dropping, and I think this book is beautifully written. First of all, the chronic illness rep I think is so important, and it's very often overlooked in fantasy books because, you know, what sells is the really strong female main character who can do anything. I think this was a beautiful representation of the main character learning to accommodate for her limitations and not necessarily bowing to them, but knowing that, all right, this is what I'm working with, so I'm going to use this opportunity to be creative to get it done anyways. Not saying, oh, I can't do that. It's just saying, okay, I can't do it that way. Let's try another way. As a neurodivergent girly, I think that's a really important story to learn. I think the aspect of court intrigue as well is very refreshing because Brittany has built this world around some very interesting politics and figures, and I like how the story was Vasily immersing herself into that and seeing the flaws in the system, which I know that can get very, very political, but I think it's also a good reminder to keep your eyes open about things. And the mystery, it kept me wanting to turn the page, and I think that's obviously a very important part of a book. If I don't want to turn the page, then it's not a good book. But no, that aspect kept me turning the page, and I think that was brilliant. If I could offer one piece of criticism, I think this being advertised as a fantasy, a romance fantasy, it is definitely more romance heavy, and I was missing some of those aspects of fantasy that I love, but I don't know if you really could call that criticism because that's just like my personal preference. From the back of the book, it doesn't go super in depth about the fantasy aspect, which that could just be my own fault in expecting something when it wasn't there in the first place. But when I think of fantasy, I think of magic, I think of mythical creatures, I think of a system of gods and laws of nature that are different. And we got the system of gods and laws of nature a little bit, but it was only about the last like 5% of the book. It was alluded to during the story, so I'm hoping that the next book really hits that hard because I want to read the next book. This is in no way me saying that I was bored or I wasn't bored. I just think personally I wanted a little bit more fantasy. But I'm so excited for the next book for Vasily to form deeper friendships and watch the love story grow and learn more about the world, because clearly there's a lot that we don't know. And if it's anything like this book, I'm excited to keep the mystery going, but also like hopefully we get a little bit of an answer as to what's actually happening. But I would 1000% recommend this book. I gave A Dance of Lies 4 stars, but go connect with Brittany Arena. She has been lovely. I've been posting a couple things about her book and she's been really intentional to respond and to interact with her audience. And I think that is really special from authors, because a lot of times nowadays they kind of just like post and ghost, but no, she's super sweet. This book comes out June 10th of 2025, so make sure to mark your calendars so you can go pick up the book. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe, but I will see you next time.